Topic is probes. A test probe is a physical device used to connect electronic test equipment to a device under test. Test probes range from very simple robust devices to the complex probes that are sophisticated, expensive and fragile. Specific types include test prods, oscilloscope probes and current probes. A test probe is often supplied as a test lead, which includes the probe, the cable and the terminating connector. Voltage probes are used to measure voltages present on the device under test. To achieve high accuracy, the test instrument and its probe must not significantly affect the voltage being measured. This is accomplished by ensuring that the combination of instrument and probe exhibit a sufficiently high impedance so that it will not load the device under test. For AC measurements, the reactive component of impedance may be more important than the resistance. Simple test leads, the probes may be classified as the simple test probes, the tweezer probes, the oscilloscope probes, the passive probe, the active probe, the AC probes, the DC probes, high voltage probe, it may be a current probe, a logic probe, and the demodulator probes, the temperature probes, etc. This is how we classify the probes which we use for measurements. First one, the simple test probe. Here, in detail, we'll be studying about the high voltage probe and the current probe. This simple test probe, here, a typical voltmeter probe consists of a single wire test lead that has one end a connector that fits the voltmeter and on the other end a rigid tubular plastic section that comprises both a handle and probe body. This we usually see in the laboratories for measurement of voltages. The handle allows a person to hold and guide the probe without influencing the measurement or being exposed to dangerous voltages that might cause electric shock. Within the probe body, the wire is connected to a rigid pointed metal tip that contacts the device under test. Some probes allow a clip to be attached to the tip, thus enabling the probe to be attached to the device under test so that it need not be held in place. Test leads are usually made with finely stranded wires to keep them flexible, of wire gauges sufficient to conduct a few amps of electric current. The insulation is chosen to be both flexible and have a breakdown voltage higher than the voltmeter maximum input voltage. So the insulation is important. It should not get broke down. So it should have a breakdown voltage which is higher than the voltmeter maximum input voltage. The many fine strands of wire and the thick insulation of the probe make the wire thicker than ordinary hookup wire. So whenever we see a probe which is thick than our ordinary wires which we use for connections of the circuit in the laboratories. Two probes are used together to measure voltage and current. So, When making DC measurements, it is necessary to know which probe is positive and which is negative. So, by conventions, the probes are colored red for positive and black for negative. Depending upon the accuracy required, they can be used with signal frequencies ranging from DC to few kilohertz. When sensitive measurements must be made, example, very low voltages or very low or very high resistances, shields or guards, and techniques such as 4-terminal Kelvin sensing devices, etc., using separate leads to carry the measuring current and to sense the voltages are used. Next, this is about the simple test probe which we ordinarily use in the laboratories along with the voltmeters to connect the voltmeter across the circuit component to measure the voltages. So as I told you, the probe thickness will be more than the ordinary wires which we use for connection, and also generally red color is used for the positive polarity and black color is used for connecting it to negative polarity. So this is about the simple test probe. Now next is the tweezer probes. Tweezer probes are a pair of simple probes fixed to a tweezer mechanism operated with one hand for measuring voltage or other electronic circuit parameters between closely spaced pins like our ICs or in a printed circuit board where the components are closely spaced and the pins are closely spaced. The next is the pogo pins. The spring probes are spring-loaded pins used in electrical test fixtures to contact test points, component leads, and other conductive features of the device under test. These probes are usually press-fit into the sockets to allow their easy replacement on test fixtures which may remain in service for decades. Testing maximum of thousands of devices under test in automatic test equipment. Next is our oscilloscope probe. The oscilloscope displays the instantaneous waveform of varying electrical quantities. Unlike other instruments which give numerical value of relatively stable quantities, scope probes fall into two main categories, the passive probe and the active probe. Passive scope probes contain no active electronic parts such as transistors, etc. So they require no external power. Because of the high frequencies often involved, oscilloscopes do not normally use simple wires to connect to the device under test. Flying leads are likely to pick up interference. So they are not suitable for low level signals. Further, the inductance of flying leads make them unsuitable for high frequency signals. Instead, a specific scope probe is used, which uses a coaxial cable to transmit the signal from the tip of the probe to the oscilloscope. This is a generally used probe when we use along with the oscilloscope in the laboratories. This cable has two main benefits. It protects the signal from external electromagnetic interference, which improves the accuracy for low-level signals. And it has a lower inductance than the flying leads, making the probe more accurate for high-frequency signals. Although coaxial cable has lower inductance than flying leads, it has the higher capacitance. The typical 50 ohms cable has about 90 picofarads per meter. Consequently, a 1 meter high impedance direct into one coaxial cable may load the circuit with a capacitance of about 110 picofarads and a resistance of 1 mega ohms. Oscilloscope probes are characterized by the frequency limit where the amplitude response has fallen by 3 dB or by rise time TR. So FDB is given as 0.35 by the rise time. Thus, a 50 megahertz probe has a rise time of 7 nanoseconds. So response of the combination of an oscilloscope and a probe is given as the TR, the combined rise time is equal to under root of the probe rise time whole square plus the scope rise time whole square. For example, a 50 megahertz probe feeding a 50 megahertz scope will give a 35 megahertz system. It is therefore advantageous to use a probe with a high frequency limit to minimize the effect on the overall system response. So this is about the oscilloscope probe where an ordinary coaxial cable is enough to do the experiments in the laboratory, but whereas at high frequencies and all, we have to consider the capacitance effect also while doing the measurements. Now, coming to the passive probes and active probes. Passive probe. To minimize loading effect, the attenuator probes, example, into 10 probes are used. A typical probe uses a 9 mega ohm series resistor shunted by a low value capacitor to make an RC compensated divider with the cable capacitance and scope input. With the cable capacitance and scope input. The RC time constants are adjusted to match. For example, 9 mega ohm series resistor is shunted by a 12.2 picofarads capacitor for a time constant of 110 microseconds. The cable capacitance of 90 picofarads in parallel with the scope input of 20 picofarads and 1 mega ohm also gives a time constant of 110 microseconds. It can be adjusted so that it can precisely match the low frequency time constant called compensating probe. Matching the time constants makes the attenuation independent of frequency. Also, at low frequencies, the circuit looks like a resistance divider. At higher frequencies, the circuit looks like a capacitive divider. So the result is a frequency compensated probe for modest frequencies that presents a load about 10 mega ohms shunted by 12 picofarads. Although such a probe is an improvement, it does not work when the time scale shrinks to several cable transit times. Now, the modern scope can be used as lossy low capacitance transmission lines and sophisticated frequency shaping networks to make into 10 probe perform well at several hundred megahertz. These are other adjustments. There are other adjustments for completing the compensation. A directly connected test probe, so-called into one probe, puts the unwanted lead capacitance across the circuit under test. For a typical coaxial cable, loading is of the order of 100 picofarads per meter. The attenuator probes minimize capacitive loading with an attenuation, but reduce the magnitude of the signal delivered to the instrument. An into 10 attenuator will reduce the capacitive load by a factor of about 10. So the attenuator must have an accurate ratio over the whole range of the frequencies of interest. The input impedance of the instrument becomes a part of the attenuation. A DC attenuator with resistive divider is supplemented with capacitors. The RC time constant matching method works as long as the transit time of the shielded cable is much less than the time scale of interest. That means that the shielded cable can be viewed as a lumped capacitor rather than an inductor. Transit time on a 1 meter cable is about 5 nanoseconds. Consequently, these probes will work up to a few megahertz. But after that, transmission line effects may cause trouble. At high frequencies, the probe impedance will be low. The most common design inserts a 9 mega ohm resistor in series with a probe tip. The signal is then transmitted from the probe head to CRO over a special lossy coaxial cable that is designed to minimize capacitance and ringing. The resistor serves to minimize the loading that the cable capacitance would impose on device under test. In series with normal 1 mega ohm input impedance of CRO, the 9 mega ohm resistor creates an into 10 voltage divider so that such probes are normally known as either low capacitance probes or into 10 probes. Because the oscilloscope input has some parasitic capacitance in parallel with 1 mega ohm, the 9 mega ohm resistor must also be bypassed by a capacitor to prevent it from forming a severe RC low loss filter with scope parabolic capacitance. The amount of bypass capacitance must be carefully matched with input capacitance of the scope so that the capacitors form into 10 voltage divider. In this way, the probe provides a uniform into 10 attenuation from DC to very high AC signals. In 200 passive probes are also available up to 25 kilovolts. Passive probes usually connect the CRO using a BNC connector. Most into 10 probes are equivalent to a load about 10 to 15 picofarads and 10 megaohms on device under test. Next, active probes. Active probes use a high impedance, high frequency amplifier mounted in the probe head and screened lead. The purpose of amplifier but isolation buffering between the circuit under test and the oscilloscope and cable loading the circuit with only a low capacitance and a high DC resistance and matching the oscilloscope input. Active probes are commonly seen by circuit under test capacitance of 1 picofarads or less in parallel with 1 mega ohm. Probes are connected to the oscilloscope with a cable matching to the characteristic impedance of the CRO input. The active probe disadvantages are they are several times more expensive than passive probes. They require power. Dynamic range is limited as low as 3 to 5 volts and can be damaged by over voltage either from signal or electrostatic discharge. Many active probes allow the user to introduce an offset voltage to allow measurement of voltages with excessive DC level. Because of their inherent low voltage rating, there is little need to provide high voltage insulation for operator safety. This allows the heads of active probes to be extremely small, making them very convenient for use with modern high density electronic circuits. At extreme high frequencies, a modern digital scope requires that the user folder a preamplifier to the device under test to get 50 gigaseconds, 20 gigahertz performance. Differential probes are used for acquiring differential signals. That is, so that the common mode rejection ratio can be obtained accurately. Next, the additional probe features are all scope probes contain some facility for grounding the probe to the circuit reference voltage. This is usually accomplished by connecting a very short pigtail wire from the probe head to ground. Inductance in the ground wire can lead to distortion in the observed signal, so this wire is kept as short as possible. Next, most probes allow a variety of tips to be installed. A pointed tip is the most common, or a test hook with a hooked tip that can secure to the test point is also used. Tips that have a small plastic insulating foot with indentation into it can make it easier to probe very fine pitch ICs. Various styles of foot accommodate various pitches of the IC leads. Different types of tips can also be used for probes for other instruments. Some probes contain a push button. Pressing the button will either disconnect the signal or cause the scope to identify the trace in some other way. Some probes designs have additional pins surrounding a BNC or use a more complex connector than a BNC. These extra connections allow the probe to inform the oscilloscope of its attenuation factor into 10 into 100 others. The oscilloscope then adjusts its user displays to automatically take into account the attenuation and other factors caused by probe. These extra pins can also be used to supply power to active probes. Some into 10 probes have into 10 or into 1 switch. The into 1 position bypasses attenuation and compensating network and can be used when working with small signals that would be below the scope's sensitivity limit if attenuated by into 10. So, the probes which we use in our labs are only into 1 probes. Interchangeability. So, because of standardized design, the passive probes from any manufacturer can usually be used with any scope. Next is the high voltage probe. It allows an ordinary voltmeter to measure voltages that would otherwise be too high to measure or even destructive. It does this by reducing the input voltage to a safe, measurable level with a precision voltage divider circuit within the probe body. The probes intended for up to 100 kilowatts typically employ a resistor voltage divider with input resistance of hundreds or thousands of megohms to minimize circuit loading. Voltmeter have input resistance that effectively alters the probe's divider ratio and the parasitic capacitance that combines with probe's resistance to form an RC circuit. These reduce AC and DC accuracy if left uncompensated. To overcome these, voltage divider probes usually include additional components that improve the frequency response. Now, next we will see the detailed circuit of a high voltage probe and a current probe. A current probe generates a voltage proportional to a current in the circuit being measured. The instruments that respond to voltage can be calibrated to indicate current. Current probes can be used both by measuring instruments and oscilloscopes. Next is the AC probe. The alternating currents are easy to measure as transformers can be used. A current transformer is commonly used to measure AC. The current to be measured is forced through the primary winding and the current through the secondary winding is found by measuring the voltage across a current sense resistor. The DC probes, the transformers cannot be used. Some DC probe designs use the nonlinear properties of a magnetic material to measure the DC. The other current probes use Hall effect sensors to measure the magnetic field around a wire produced by an electric current through the wire without the need to interrupt the circuit to fit the probe. They are available for both voltmeter and the oscilloscopes. Other probes are the temperature probes, the demodulator probes, and the logic probes. Now, let us see the high voltage probe. The high voltage probe is used to measure high voltages in the order of kilovolts. So, a voltage division of 1000 to 1 may be used. It is used to measure very high voltages up to 50 kilovolts. The probe head is made up of high impact strength thermoplastic material which provides security against electric shock hazards to the user. This we have already seen that thermoplastic material is used. In the figure shown in the next slide, the circuit diagram of typically 1000 to 1 high voltage probe is used. The probe head consists of high input resistance of 100 mega ohms. So a special cable connects head to the termination. It consists of a 100 mega ohm resistor in the probe head as shown in this figure. This is connected to the termination end through a special probe cable. Shown in the figure, the probe head, the cable and the termination finally to the device under test. This is suitable for DC measurements, but without compensation, it will have a uniform unknown AC response due to the very high impedance and stray capacitance, forming a filter low pass or high pass depending on the amount of stray capacitance and input capacitance of the meter. The probe compensation is done by adjusting the network consisting of R1, R2, C1, C2 and C3. The probe cable terminates its characteristic impedance by resistors R3 and R6 as shown in this figure. Next, let us see the current probe. For AC measurement, AC current measurement, AC current probe is used. The measurement can be done without disturbing the circuit under test. A current can be measured by measuring the potential difference across a known series resistance by a sensitive electronic voltmeter. High levels of alternating current can be reduced by the use of a current transformer, as we have already seen, and this principle is used in the AC current probe. This probe provides a method of inductively coupling the signal to the CRO input. Thus, the direct electrical connection to the test circuit is not necessary. This probe can be clamped as shown in the figure. It can be clamped around a wire carrying an electrical current without any physical contact to the probe. You need not disconnect the circuit to connect this probe. Thus, the magnitude of current with the frequency range from DC to 50 megahertz can be measured using this probe. The current probe is shown in figure. The conductor in which the current is carrying, the clip-on head where you clip on around the conductor, the amplifier and the output voltage which will be given to the voltmeter and which will be shown as the current. So a magnetic core with a removable piece is used as a coupling element for the current probe. The wire carrying the current to be measured is inserted in the center of the magnetic core and acts as a primary of a transformer. The core is a ferrite U-shaped core and this works as secondary of the transformer. Because of the electromagnetic induction principle, whenever current flows through primary, the EMF gets induced in the secondary and this is fed to the CRO input via the termination circuitry. So this is about the current probe where we need not disconnect or open the circuit where the current has to be measured. We can just clip on the current probe through which we can measure the current flowing which is given the scope. So the current probe, as I told you, consists of clip-on head and amplifier which can be used with AC voltmeter. The probe is effectively a current transformer It has a property that it will sum the instantaneous values of currents in two or more conductors that it may be clipped around. So this is about the high voltage probe and the current probe. Thank you.